Welcome back to the Eminence in Shadow anime review, episode number 14. We're reviewing episodes 29 and 30. Before I talk about this video, I'm going to do this one. I'm also going to talk about when I chance to watch them. I'll go ahead and watch the final episodes of the season that's aired. And then afterwards, I'm going to head back to watching Hurricane Jump preview episodes. And then I'll watch Case Closed because Tales of the Rings has not been released yet today. So I'm just going to worry about that. If it's not released by tonight, I probably have to watch it tomorrow, presumably. But in the case of these two episodes, here's kind of thing happening. So Clyde is seen hanging out at an inn where he's like eating some, where he just hang out there. He apparently has been here for quite a while. He's basically in this like, I don't know, it looks like a town. It's got like a hole where the main road used to be. And also the fact that the local soldiers keep taking her stuff. Like anything expensive, like coffee. Yeah, the fact he's barely getting anything, and the fact they keep taking her money. So then later on we have soldiers show up basically at her door. It takes all her money, and it's like, ooh, why don't you basically give us your body also? She turns down, of course, she also declines to, well, after being a coward in front of soldiers. And, of course, have his butt handed to him by the soldiers. By the way, it's revealed that this particular innkeeper is the same prostitute from early in the season. Yep, it's the same woman. Yeah, this is also the same woman that Clyde saved during the Lawless City stuff. Yes, part of the season that I actually liked. That took up the first, 3 episodes of the season. That part I really enjoyed. So, then of course, Clyde finds soldiers to walk around, but the dimensional thing with Rose, which we'll get to that. He then finds the soldier house, proceeds to kill them, all while they're having a conversation with each other. Yep, and then after kill all of them, takes the money, drops the innkeeper, and then Clyde goes off to deal with basically what happened with Rose. Rose, meanwhile, we see her where she wakes up. Here's what's strange though. Book 3 always referred to her as number 666. Despite the fact, even watching the anime, it's Rose. It's obviously Rose. Here she gets out of bed and she's basically brought to this resort town because apparently she's for princess. Apparently it's a low strategic value, but apparently, so her kingdom has been divided into 2 factions. One is serving her ex-fiance, Perv Asshat. That I still think that's a stupid name for a character. Perv Asshat. Seriously. Oh yeah, and by the way, Clyde calls him pervert. Because it is so weird. So, basically she's here with 664, 665, and 559, who apparently was another person along with Rose that gave who was actually given power from Clyde himself, aka Shadow. And everybody else was recruited by the 7 Shadows themselves. Rose basically, well, even though she was recruited by the 7 Shadows, but she had power. And of course, 559 thinks she's weak. And then they come across this ruin, which turned out to be a music hall. Yes, seriously, a ruin hall that was damaged. And she calls us a music hall. Okay. When I think of music hall, I think of an actual building, not like a coliseum type of thing that's open air. So, we see members of Code Diablos there, where they open this thing with a key card. The same key card I was seeing from the previous season of the show, from the Sanctuary stuff. I'm like, okay, we get a little follow-up with that. And before I continue, this particular arc is a follow-up to the ending of Season 2. That's most what this is, and it's also follow-up with Lawless City. It's almost like, basically, like the whole counterfeit scheme is not even mentioned here. It's almost like, I'm guessing at this, that maybe either the writer or the animator was embarrassed by that arc. Because it was not interesting. As to mention ideas, yes, but I kind of feel as though that arc really was like filler, but it was canon of the actual story. Yeah, it felt like basically this was just a side thing and get rid of something that was just it felt like it was a minor. It felt like a minor plot story compared to Lost City, which was awesome. So then she discovers her mother is there, the Queen of Orinia Kingdom. Yes. Why is she here? Because Royal Bloodline can lock this thing to at least this ring, which they get the ring, and of course then Perp Asshat has a leader. And of course, 559, being very trigger happy, decides to murder the Queen right in front of her daughter. I'm like, could you, I don't know, you can kill all the other guys, no problem, because we'll call it Diablos, but don't kill the Queen. At this point, there's no reason to kill the Queen, aside from the fact she unlocked a door. So, the way I see it, Rose was actually in the right in this matter. Yes. Then she's declared a traitor by several people in Shadow Garden, despite the fact that what she did technically wasn't treasonous. Yeah, she may have saved somebody who they're going to kill, but at this point, there's no reason to kill her. There's probably a reason later, but we'll get to that. So, then they think that she joined a cult Diablos, but not really. She never actually did. And then, of course, that, well, she's referred to my kingdom. The whole thing with Rose is kind of take place concurrently with stuff with Clyde. And then Clyde, well, speaking to 559, that 559 eliminated all the Cult Diablo soldiers, who were the first children soldiers. He later gets a piece of paper dropped in front of him, where he's informed that Rose is getting married to Perp Asshat. And he points out, though, why would she agree to marry him, even though that she basically didn't want him in the first place? She didn't love him. And also the fact that why did you kill him in the first place? It's also a thing he has a fantasy of making her a tyrant. Yes, seriously, Clyde wants to make her a tyrant. I don't know why, but just kind of how it is here. So then he rushes off, and then he just happens to run to Epsilon, who's a pianist. And he goes undercover as her apprentice. After playing some sonata, and of course then she runs off. Then he basically has a talk with a maid by the name of Margaret. And I can tell by this voice, who's voicing her, that is Lucy Christian. My guess is the reason why we have her voicing another character in the series, maybe because she likes the series. That's my guess of probably the reason why. This is the third character I've heard her voice. Because you have Claire, who is Clyde's sister. You have that one-shot character from episode 28. And you have this girl. I'm like, okay, interesting. And here's kind of the thing also. Claire is only in the first few episodes of this whole season. After that, she's not sitting in for the rest of the season. As a matter of fact, she's not even in book 4. And I've read book 4. She's not there at all. It's almost like basically what's going on with her is probably saved for a later book, but it's not in the book I read. And also, what I can tell, book 5 and 6 has not been released yet. You're thinking, really? It has not been released yet? Yeah, it has not been released yet. I don't know why. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's basically 6 volumes. And here's the thing. Book 4, was released in June of almost 2 years ago, June 2022. Book 5 does not come out until July. I'm not kidding about that. It's like that. I'm not really sure why. Just, that's kind of basically what's going on there. Mm-hmm. So mostly put in the case of these few episodes, I'm guessing that, well, these few episodes only cover a portion of the book. Oh, I was reading book 4, and apparently the auxiliary chapter book 4. I'm like, this is familiar, and I heard, oh yeah, this is part of the book for the first episode of the series. I was wondering, like, was that from book 1? Nope. So, apparently, the first episode was that from the auxiliary chapter of book 4. Which seems strange, but that's kind of how it is. Yep. Oh, and also, These two episodes mostly cover the prologue and the first chapter. So, based based on the fact that the story itself, uh, the whole thing with Rose, that is mostly put in the first four chapters. Basically, the prologue and chapters 1 through 3. Yeah. So, in the case of the Lawless City arc from the first season, from the first half of the season, the first four episodes cover the prologue until like chapter 3, and well, in the case of the rest of it, it's basically from chapters 4 through 7. It looks like, I'm guessing at this, it's probably gonna be the same way with the rest of the season to cover the rest of the book. Just basically just it's gonna stop basically with chapter 3. So it could be possible that the second half of book 4 probably happened for the movie. Yeah, there's a movie coming out. It was announced just a few months ago. No release date for it yet, but yeah. So Clyde goes visit Rose as Clyde, not as Shadow, but Clyde. Then he basically just tells her like they shouldn't do this. That like, but it's a very interesting conversation. And then of course, then you see him go off, and then you see Parvase talking to Mordred, who makes his debut this episode. Actually, this actually is the first time he's appeared since the end of season 1. So at this point, this is episode 30. The last time he appeared was episode 20. So it's been 10 episodes since his previous appearance. So yeah, the ring is the person because he doesn't have the ring. It's like, and then we see the queen looks like she's already out of her dress, and looks like she's in something romantic. And then she calls for Parvashat. Why in the world would you call him for a future son-in-law? Well, we'll find that out next episode because it's quite interesting exactly what happens here. Yep. I'm not kidding about that. And also the whole thing of like, they bring up the fact that Rose killed her father at the end of the previous season, which that's indeed true. There's a lot of callbacks to the previous season. The last few episodes of season 1 with this one. Yeah, last few episodes, it's like that last arc is basically, this is like all the follow-up to it. That's most of what these episodes are. But it's like, why in the world couldn't they adapt this with the end of the previous season? Why couldn't you go this right away? My guess is they probably were told not to adapt the story out of order because, excuse me. So, I'm sure the creator probably told the committee, do not adapt these books out of order. I've heard reputations basically where, this is my person, he probably told them this, that because there have been times where sometimes basically anime who adapt from light novels tend to adapt stuff out of order. One good example of this is, actually a couple of examples of this, well, the ones I can think of are, there is High School DxD, and that proved to be very detrimental to the series. There is also, well, Vanished Hair Party, that adapts books up, well, it skips books, but doesn't have an order. There's also Goblin Slayer, because they skip over 2 books. Oh, there is one I want to adapt stuff out of order. And this is basically noteworthy. The second season of The Rise of Hero. That was notorious, basically, for adapting stuff out of order. Because that was a big problem with season 2. It's like the director just did not care. And it's almost like, well, I mentioned this in my review when I reviewed season 3, that you can almost see season 3 as an apology for season 2. It's like, we're sorry, screwed up, here's the stuff in proper order. And I praised it basically for being accurate to the actual source material, which I do praise it for that. This one so far is the one thing I do praise for this series. It is mostly accurate. There has been some minor stuff they cut here, but it's not too bad per se. Nothing that hurts the story per se, but that's kind of how it is. Yep. Oh. Yeah, so basically next is going to be the last video we do for right now for Eminence and Shadow until whenever they release the movie for this one. And after that, it's back to Hurricaneer. Yep. And that working case goes. Okay, next video. Oh, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit the dislike button.